During its 50-year history, King's Dominion has seen many attractions come and go. From forgotten flumes to closed coasters, journey through the park's history to discover the stories of these now lost rides. Opening in the park's inaugural year, Galaxie was a small roller coaster located on the main midway of Candy Apple Grove. Galaxie was a small travelling model of coaster from SDC and one of many installed at parks around the world during the same period. At King's Dominion, the ride featured red supports topped with a black track. Visitors would board one of the coaster's 4-passenger cars. Sitting side by side, there was no restraints or seatbelt on the ride. After climbing the modest lift hill, cars would round a curve and enter the first of the ride's drops, reaching a top speed of 31 miles per hour. Another curve then delivered riders to the second of the roller coaster's drops. Following these, cars would enter dizzying helixes, one located at each end of the attraction. Some smaller dips followed before a return to the station. The ride duration was 122 seconds, and along with Rebel Yell and Scooby-Doo, Galaxie was one of 3 roller coasters for opening year. Following a fatal accident in September of 1983, the roller coaster closed, never to reopen. It was removed from King's Dominion, possibly relocated to another park in the country. The site where Galaxie stood was used for the construction of Shockwave. This new stand-up coaster opened in 1986 and operated at the park until 2015. Opening in 1977, King Kobra was one of the first of a new type of shuttle loop coaster, manufactured by Schwarzkopf. It was located in the Lion Country Safari area of the park. The first modern coaster with a loop had opened the prior year, and this model provided the same concept, in a more compact design. Featuring a vertical loop located between 2 spikes, the attraction sent riders forwards and backwards along the same track. Starting in the open station, riders boarded the trains and were secured with a simple lap bar. The train attached to a catch car that would launch riders to 53 miles per hour. The launch achieved with pulleys and a dropping weight, located in a tower below one of the spikes. Racing forwards, trains entered the vertical loop, completing a full inversion. Following this, riders would pull upwards, facing skyward, before momentum was lost and the train would fall backwards. The vertical loop would be completed again, and trains would speed through the station and enter another spike. Falling forwards, the brakes would engage, and riders returned to the station. King Kobra would remain at King's Dominion until 1986, when it was removed and sold. Another reptile would take up residence on the plot vacated by King Kobra. Opening in 1991, Anaconda would be built on the site. The looping coaster's lift hill occupying the location where the shuttle loop once sat. King Kobra would be relocated to Jolly Roger Amusement Park in Maryland, operating there for 3 seasons. Following this, it travelled to England and was installed at Alton Towers as Thunderlooper in 1990. Attracting noise complaints, it lasted there until 1996, before moving to Hopi Hari in Brazil, where it operates today as Catapult with an extensive Superman theme. Ready to make a splash in 1979, King's Dominion constructed and opened the Lost World. This giant foam mountain was the largest ride complex ever built at a regional park. The rockwork would hide 3 attractions contained in the mountain's interior: the haunting voyage to Atlantis, the dizzying time shaft ride, and family attraction Journey to the Land of Doos. Journey to the Land of Doos was a slow train ride to discover the underground world of these curious people. The attraction featured over 150 animatronics, with the Doozies populating numerous detailed scenes. In 1984, the ride was transformed. No more could guests visit Doos, the Smurfs were now in town. The ride was rethemed to become Smurf Mountain, with the whole mountain being unofficially named the same by park guests. The train ride remained, but now visitors were transported past scenes featuring the small blue creatures for a look into the world of the Smurfs. Animatronic Smurfs now filled the ride, entertaining guests with their antics. Although popular with families, Smurf Mountain suffered from declining ridership in its later years. It closed at the end of 1993, with other mountain attractions last operating the next year. The mountain then sat empty until 1998, when it was repurposed as Volcano the Blast Coaster. Opening with the park on May 3, 1975, Old Dominion Line offered King's Dominion visitors a scenic journey through the Virginia woods aboard a real steam train. With a station located in the Old Virginia Park section, this narrow-gauge railway offered short trips around the forest on one of two locomotives. The two engines were named Stonewall Jackson and Patrick Henry. One was painted a bright orange, another in blue. Each engine pulled covered wagons with bench seating, taking visitors on the relaxing journey through the woods at the edge of the park. Upon opening and lasting for a number of years, the train would make a stop partway through the circuit. A short show taking place during this stop, and often featuring some interaction with the riders on the train. By the 1990s, maintenance of the attraction was becoming increasingly necessary, with winter works on the train becoming more involved each year. It was decided that 1994 would be the last year of operation. Tracks were torn up and the engines were sold. One engine made its way to Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and operates on their Serengeti Express Railway. The station location for the Old Dominion Line has seen redevelopment, and today the Extreme Skyflyer sits approximately where it once was. For 1979, King's Dominion installed 3 new attractions, all located inside a faux mountain named the Lost World. One of the attractions would be the Voyage to Atlantis, a water flume past haunted props. The Lost World mountain soared 15 stories tall and took 2 years to construct, its exterior featuring massive waterfalls and hinting at what lie within, as every so often boats would emerge and race down a drop. Voyage to Atlantis would only last 1 year, and in 1980, it was reimagined to become Haunted River, the new name better suiting the haunted sets within, and for the first few years, costume park employees lurked in the shadows, ready to scare unsuspecting guests. Boarding one of the small boats, visitors would sit 2 across in 3 rows. Boats were then dispatched for their journey along the river. Riders would enter the underground caves of the mountain and pass scenes populated with animatronic skeletons and other creatures, the dark environments adding to the haunting atmosphere. Boats would then be lifted upwards, before an exhilarating drop, the flume emerging from the side of the mountain for a splashdown in a nearby pool. The Haunted River closed at the end of the 1994 season. The Lost World sealed off. The mountain was subsequently used for Volcano the Blast Coaster, opening in 1998. Opening in 1985, Diamond Falls was King's Dominion's big new attraction that season. The ride was a shoot-the-chute style flume located on a corner of Lake Charles in Safari Village. Diamond Falls almost didn't make its opening date. Arriving late from the manufacturer and encountering numerous problems during construction, crews worked night and day to construct the attraction. The water for Diamond Falls came from the lake itself and featured an unusual reverse vacuum principle. Instead of pumping water into the trough, it naturally flowed in from the lake and was pumped out at the end, effectively sucking boats through the layout. The station for Diamond Falls was located over the water, and riders would board large boats with 4 rows. Once they had left the station, boats would progress up the lift hill, in early years often slipping backwards due to an accumulation of lake slime. At the top, a slow turnaround lined riders up with the main event. The drop had a slight double down, and boats would race towards the lake below. The splashdown throwing gallons of liquid into the air, the stagnant lake water covering those standing on a nearby bridge. The park advertised the surprise at the bottom being better than the drop itself, with boats entering an old diamond mine after the splashdown. Inside, riders would come face to face with a fiberglass dragon. Lake Charles reduced in size in 1992, 2/3 of the land reclaimed, to construct the new Hurricane Reef water park. This left Diamond Falls landlocked, now located in its own small lake. This change may have helped with mould and algae, as water looked noticeably cleaner in later years. After 18 seasons at the park, Diamond Falls closed in 2002. 4 years later, Italian Job Turbo Coaster would open on the site. Later renamed Backlot Stunt Coaster, this launched attraction from Premier Rides simulates a movie car chase. Located in the Grove, Hypersonic XLC opened at King's Dominion in 2001. The attraction was the world's first compressed air launched roller coaster from manufacturer S&S. In 1999, S&S Worldwide constructed a prototype new coaster at their test facility in Utah. Taking the upcoming millennium as inspiration, the ride model was named Thrust Air 2000 and featured a simple oval layout with a single 52-metre top hat. Trains would be propelled using compressed air, with a similar mechanism to a space shot ride. It was announced that King's Dominion would receive the first installation of this new ride type. Looking to reduce costs, the park purchased the prototype itself. It will be installed in a renamed Candy Apple Grove, located directly above the main pathway, with a layout slightly extended from the prototype. Opening on March 24, 2001, Hypersonic XLC could be seen from afar, its 165-foot red and white top hat clearly visible as you approached. Boarding the trains, 8 riders would be secured with T-bar restraints before they were dispatched. Rounding a curve, trains would enter the launch track, the distance to the top hat looking unfeasibly short. After a brief pause, vehicles were launched from a standing start to 80 miles per hour in 1.8 seconds. Immediately they would climb upwards, ascending the top hat, cresting the peak, and then dropping down again. A long bank curve over the heads of the onlookers below followed, before a small airtime hill and the brakes. The compressed air allowed for rapid acceleration, and riders were in awe of the sheer power of the launch. Reaching the top speed in a short distance, and providing a force much more powerful than the park's other 2 launch coasters. Hypersonic XLC suffered large amounts of downtime, even closing for 3 months of its second season. Being a prototype, problems needed to be rectified on an almost daily basis. One of the main maintenance issues was the train wheels. Unlike standard coaster trains that used polyurethane wheels, the ones installed on Hypersonic XLC were rubber pneumatic tyres. These tyres were often crushed by the high G-forces produced by the attraction. In addition, the motion of the ride put too much stress on the structure, with cracks being found. Hypersonic XLC would give its last rides in 2007, after being put up for sale by the park the prior closed season. It was later removed from sale and dismantled. When King's Dominion opened for 2008, the ride was gone. The location is now home to Windseeker, with the former coaster's platform all that remains. Following a similar announcement by Carowinds, King's Dominion revealed they will be opening a Wayne's World-themed area for 1994. The centrepiece of this would be wooden roller coaster Hurler. Built by International Coasters, the ride would be one of only 2 ever constructed by that company. Hurler was constructed at the rear of the park in an area close to the station for the old Dominion Line train. Hurler's opening would feature Wayne and Garth impersonators, as well as an appearance by Tia Carrera from the Wayne's World films. The station for the attraction originally featured a light Hollywood theme, with props as well as a replica of Wayne's basement suggesting you were on a film set. The ride ran with a set of 2 Philadelphia Toboggan Company trains, securing riders with the standard lap bars. Completing a 180-degree turn out of the station, trains would enter the ride's 83-foot lift hill. At the top, another turn delivered riders to the coaster's first drop, racing down and reaching a top speed of 50 miles per hour. The track levelling out and trains completing a bank curve to the right. The rest of the coaster featured small airtime hills and bank turns in a triple out and back layout. During its time at the park, Hurler never really received much praise, and in later years became increasingly rough. The sale of King's Dominion to Cedar Fair saw the majority of the theming removed, and the roller coaster closed at the end of the 2015 season. Following speculation, it was announced that Hurler was undergoing a hybrid conversion by company Rocky Mountain Construction. Utilising RMC's signature formula, the wooden track would be replaced by steel running rails. With the layout slightly altered to provide increased thrills and include the addition of 3 inversions, the new attraction Twisted Timbers would open on March 23, 2018, taking the old Hurler and creating an enjoyable roller coaster experience. Utilising an artificial mountain that had been present at King's Dominion since 1979, Volcano the Blast Coaster opened in 1998. The last rides inside the mountain had closed in 1994, and it had sat empty. Originally considering an attraction based on the film Congo, King's Dominion instead turned to the roller coaster manufacturer Intamin to design a new roller coaster for the location. It was announced that at a cost of $20 million, the new attraction would be the world's first launched inverted roller coaster. The construction of the new ride would require modifications to the existing mountain. Remains of the prior attractions were removed, and openings were cut into the structure. The rounded top of the mountain was modified to create an open peak, reminiscent of a volcano. Utilising linear induction motors, a still new technology, as its launch method, Volcano the Blast Coaster was plagued with technical issues. These problems manifested themselves even before opening, with dates constantly being postponed. Initially featuring only one LIM launch, trains failed to make it clear of the mountain during testing. Following delays, the new ride officially opened on August 3, 1998. In order to provide reliable operations, in the first year trains were only filled to half capacity, reducing the wait and ensuring trains completed the circuit. Over the closed season, a second set of LIMs were added, providing an additional boost and ensuring the peak of the volcano was consistently cleared. Approaching the attraction, guests would see the giant volcano, yellow trap wrapping around the exterior. Every so often, a blast of fire would erupt from the peak, and coaster trains would emerge, beginning their descent. Inverted trains sat 2 across, for a total of 16 riders per train. Once dispatched, the track would make a slow left turn, riders entering the launch track and being propelled to 70 miles per hour. A sweeping left turn followed, and trains entered the second launch, boosting the speed before riders pulled up into a vertical climb. Trains emerged out of the volcano's summit and completed a rollout, the first of the coaster's 4 inversions. An elevated curve followed, with trains entering a heartline roll, before another curve and a second heartline roll embedded in the side of the mountain. Turning around again, a third heartline roll was completed, before a drop into the final brake run. When it opened, Volcano held the record for the highest inversion on a roller coaster, the rollout being 155 feet above ground level. Reviews of the attraction were extremely positive, with Volcano the Blast Coaster ranking highly in polls. The ride operated for the first few weeks of the 2018 season, before closing due to technical problems and not operating the remainder of the year. It was announced in early 2019 that Volcano would be removed, King's Dominion citing reliability and guest satisfaction as the reasons. In May the same year, the attraction and mountain were demolished, leaving a plot for redevelopment. The coaster's former station still standing and surviving the area's transformation into jungle expedition. Opening during the Paramount era of King's Dominion, Tomb Raider Firefall was an attraction located in the Congo Park area, close to Volcano the Blast Coaster. During its tenure at the park, Paramount were keen to install rides based upon its movie franchises. The Tomb Raider franchise was used after a similar successful installation at Kings Island. While the attraction at Kings Island was inside and featured the Huss giant topspin model, King's Dominions was a smaller variant from the same manufacturer, featuring flawless back-to-back seating. A gondola holding 36 passengers was suspended between 2 arms. Riders would fill both sides before over-the-shoulder restraints were lowered and the floor fell away. The gondola was lifted skywards as the arms rotated, holding the gondola still or letting it spin, flipping riders over and over. The surrounding area featured the theme of an archaeological dig, with props from the Tomb Raider film. The ride itself also interacted with a fountain-filled pool, and 2 columns contained flame effects. Following the acquisition of King's Dominion by Cedar Fair, references to Tomb Raider were removed. The attraction, along with its sister at Kings Island, was renamed the Crypt. The Crypt closed at the end of the 2019 season, with the park announcing in January the following year that it would be removed for future park development. In 2022, Tumbili opened on the site formerly occupied by the Crypt. This 4D spin coaster was located in the reimagined land Jungle Expedition. For 50 years, King's Dominion has welcomed visitors eager to enjoy its collection of roller coasters, rides and attractions. While some of these rides are now gone, they have left their impression on the park, with memories of them living on.